Hello. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
If you can hear me and you're signing in, I'd love to hear where you are dialing in from, logging in from. Let us know in the chat. Exciting news. I'm in Los Angeles and I woke up this morning to lightning and thunder, which never happens here, ever. If anybody's familiar with Southern California weather, we don't ever get lightning or thunder. We barely get rain. But I got those three things today.
You're lucky. We're yesterday we have 97 degrees here, and it
That's
felt
so
like
hot.
110 here in Florida.
Yeah, and the humidity. I know everybody always says that about the humidity. I grew up in Florida. Spent my first 22 years of life in Florida, so I know exactly what you mean. What part of Florida are you in again?
I'm in Central Florida,
What part? What city?
Winter Garden.
Oh yeah, Winter Garden. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I grew up in West Palm Beach. Folks, if you are joining us, welcome. We're so excited to have you. We're just talking about Florida weather and Los
yeah.
Angeles weather to pass the time. But if you are logging in and you can see me, you can hear me, let me know where you are joining us from. And I'll give people a few minutes before we get into it. Amarillo? Is it how you pronounce it? Amarillo? I should know this. Texas. Ooh, Chicago. Love it. I'm going to be there in August. Iceland. Yes. One of my favorite vacations I've ever had was in Iceland. Mongolia. Now that's on the bucket list. This is just me talking about places I want to go. Boynton Beach. Oh my God, I spent many of my childhood in Boynton Beach. I'm not even joking. Stewart,
For
Florida.
Florida,
Familiar, but didn't spend a whole lot of time there. Sailfish capital of the world. Where's that? I don't know. Am I supposed
starts by Tampa,
to?
right?
Oh, a lot of Floridians. Great.
Yeah. So they all know what I'm
Felt
talking
two,
about, the heat.
two fellow Floridians on this call right now. Hello, folks. We're welcoming you. This is Kim at Duda. Oh, Ireland.
I totally
Hello.
Ireland. Yeah,
Love
nice.
Ireland. Been there only one time. I'd like to go back. Let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. I will give people another minute and then we'll get right into it. So, okay, crazy weather. I had lightning and thunder this morning in Los Angeles, if you missed me talking about that. San Diego, what's up, San Diego? Just 2 hours south of me. And Alex is talking about being boiled alive in Florida, which the humidity at 97 degrees will do that to you. Okay, again, all right. I'll give people another few minutes and let us know where. Oh, thanks, Dan. I'm partial. I'm partial to Duda as well. But yeah, I'm also a fan of Duda. Denver. Oh, hi Denver. I'm gonna be there on next week. I'm gonna be in our Denver office, technically in Louisville. Anybody
Oh,
else joining
Israel.
us? Hey, what's up, Israel? Just had a phone call with my colleagues in Israel. Toronto. Love Toronto. Charleston, yes. That's on my bucket list. I need to go to Charleston. Everybody just needs to know my travel plans, apparently. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm going to spend this small. All right, let's get into it. We don't need to hear me chatting away about my travel destinations and where I want to go and where I've been. Alex, I'm so excited to have you. We are so excited to talk to you today about how you've used Duda to Duda's speed to build a lot of websites at scale. Can you visit the office? Maybe. I'm sure we're actually going to have some meetups at some point as a part of the Duda community. So stay tuned if you're not already a part of the Duda community. I'll drop that in the chat later. But anyway, I'd love to introduce our host and get right into it. We are joined by Alex Akis. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I
Saki.
totally butchered that. He is the founder of the SEO focus of an SEO focused web design agency. He's worked on 300 plus website audits in the past 2 years. That's incredible. He has won multiple web design awards. That's really great. And he was the 2022 judge for the European Web Design E-commerce Awards. He's spoken at multiple SEO conferences. And he is a fan of Duda, and we're so excited to have you. Alex, I will pass it over to you and let's get right into it and show the people your secret sauce for how you use Duda to build amazing websites really quickly.
Perfect. First and foremost, I want to thank Anton and you came to have me over to the show, to the webinar, and actually a, a, a common person we know with Anton actually told him that I use Duda. Actually, I have been using Duda since the mobile Google update, right? Like that was the reason why I
Wow.
found Duda. So it was the easiest solution and the most at the time cost effective to get people a mobile solution without having to redo everything, because people usually they don't want to redo a lot of stuff. So that's why we used it. So the point of this presentation here, because we discussed about building sites quickly and maximizing profit, right? So this is the reason why I use Duda. So I want to be transparent. My agency, the majority of the sites we build, they're larger scale websites, and we build them in WordPress. But because of the speed and the how fast we can build actual Duda sites, we're able now to tap a different market that we weren't able to tap before using Duda. So so I have worked with a lot of companies from large scale to small scale, mom and pops, and what I see all the time in every pitch and everybody who comes to us, it's price points, right? Like so,
Mhm.
every time they come to us, they either come from a referral, so they know our price ranges, or if because we're local here in Winter Garden, we get local businesses or in Orlando where a lot of times their budget is not there. So a lot of times we will spend time talking to them, and before we start implementing all this Duda, we couldn't sell a product to them. So the point of my presentation is I want to share some of the things I learned through my career, and I'm hoping that like to get that I'm hoping that everybody here can get something from I'm showing, and we already have done the first step of the first step that is required is we all of us pretty much are using Duda, so that's a great step to start. So I don't know if everybody can see the presentation. Let me see.
I'm sure
So,
Anton's pulling it up any moment now.
okay, perfect.
There we go.
So, so our presentation is called "Let's Build Websites Quickly and Maximize Profit with Duda." Again, so a point here is how can we use Duda to hit the target, the points, the target price points we couldn't hit before, right? So uh, I'm hoping through the whole process you guys can follow my processes, and at the end of this you can actually have something that can help you build the websites faster and with less headaches, because that's very very important when it comes to lower end websites. So why fast websites? So the average small business, the average small business spend around 1,000 to 2,500 bucks maximum on a website when they're starting in the beginning. Through COVID, we saw a lot of businesses where they just started. A lot of people quit their jobs, started their own business. So all these people are in the point where they need a website, right? So when they hit some of the local firms and they need a custom websites, they get hit with some price points from over $5,000 to $10,000, which is not possible for their budgets. So the idea behind this is we're building websites fast, and but when we're building them fast, it doesn't mean they need to be low quality. The whole idea behind building the websites, and the main reason why I still use Duda, is because when I build a website for somebody, even if they come in with a $1,000 budget, the idea is that you build something for them that within the next 6 months they can scale up, and you can upsell them another service, right? So it could be a local SEO, it could be scaling adding the functionalities with e-commerce with Duda, adding personalizations. There's a million things that we can add once they're within the platform. So now you have a customer that was initially came in for $1,000. Well, 6 months later, that person, can sign up for 600, $700 a month service to expand their business because you built something properly, so people found them and they have the money now to invest, right? So you build a trust right there to build it better. But in order to do this, because budget is everything, because time is everything, we have to follow a process and build it properly. Majority of the new businesses, the small businesses, fail because of marketing and strategy. So we know with local SEO, because these are all mostly local businesses, with local SEO, if your website is set up properly, this plays a big, it's a massive important ranking factor for the algorithm. So you need to have your website to be relevant and to give the right signals out. So my whole process will discuss exactly how I do it, so we can actually, again, build it with a foundation and the goal that they're going to scale up the business within the next 6 months and be profitable. So what does that mean, build it fast, right? So there's 3 steps to build it fast, where first of all, we have to sell it, right? So we have to sell for a low upfront costs, and then figure out our revenue streams, right? Recurring monthly revenue streams. Then we have to plan it correctly, because if you don't plan, you jump straight into Duda, you're going to be in a point where like you don't know what section to use. You don't, it will take you a million hours, what pictures to use, where to fit the content, what to include, and all that good stuff. So it's becoming, so it's a little bit harder to actually to build it faster that way. And then the last step is, of course, building it. So we already, all of us, using Duda. So a good idea is to understand what sections exist, and use some, and find 1-2 of our favorite templates that are there, and build custom websites that look different from each other, right? So I use 1 or 2 different templates, and I will show some examples of the site I've built, and they're totally different from each other. So, and all the stuff is due to proper planning and understanding what exactly we need to do. So how do we sell the site? I mean, what I do for this project, as I said, I know usually the clients or the potential customers, they're in the range from between $1,000 to $2,500 to build the website. But I know also, that every small business have a monthly expense, right? They have monthly expenses, and they have some marketing budget set aside. So I know that we can also charge them something monthly to cover our costs. So I'm looking at the upfront investment to cover my costs, my time, my expenses. There could be content, images, etc. And I put a 40% to 50% on top of that. And this is what my upfront selling price is. And to give you an example, I broke it down. So it usually takes us for a 5-page website. I mean, I spend around, I want to say, total maybe 10 hours within Duda, and it's about another 3 to 4 hours between client communications and gathering content and imagery and pre-planning, right? So if we put all these hours together, on this formula here, I put it at $75 an hour, right? So we have $1,000, $125. And again, guys, I know a lot of people are from other countries, so I know the price points are different. So I just took the price, and again, 75, I feel like that's kind of like the average price point here in the United States for web designers. So somebody, if they're new, you can start at $30 or you can start at $50, but know your value per hour, right? And break it down and put a number down that makes you happy, right? So you put that number down, you find the hours, you add your costs. So that cost could be either content, so you can buy the content somewhere in the images, and then you add a profit margin on it, and you come up with a price. So let's say now a 5-page website is at $1,900. So this is the upfront cost. So you're within the price range. And also, I've found out that when you discuss with clients, I usually try to make them kind of like, understand the price point. So it's easier to sell if somebody is within $1,500, right? It's easier to sell them a $990 versus $1,200, right? If they're in the $2,200 range, it's easier to sell them a $1,900 versus $2,200, right? The goal here again is build now, and then keep build their site, build the business, and then keep a recurring income as the monthly on a monthly basis. So now the recurring revenue, within Duda, they're giving us I don't know if a lot of you guys have seen into the back end with the white label resources. So Duda provides a lot of different resources, which I have used a million times, right? Like, because it's easier. I mean, I always change them. I like to make my presentations to kind of fit me, right? But they have all the information you need to sell the products. So I put together some ideas. So let's say that, okay, you charge somebody $1,500, you build that website, and now it's a monthly. Okay, how much do you charge on a monthly basis? Well, we know, Duda has a cost, and then you can pre-package kind of like a plan and figure out exactly what that plan is and sell it to them. So Duda gives you the SSL sell sheet. So you can say, okay, hosting an SSL sheet is X amount of dollars per month, right? So you put the cost to pay for the Google Duda site, and then you put in your profit margin on top of it. You can sell the hosting and the page updates, right? So you say, okay, you can pre-book 2 hours per month for updates or an hour per month for updates. And then you can sell all the personalization features that Duda sells, and they're already built in the website, but you can sell that. A great example for personalization, we built one where if people were in mobile and they were close to a barber shop and they visited the website, instead of giving them a normal coupon, it would say, hey, walk in and it will give you like $5 off, right? So that was a great personalization. The customer loved it. And then for us, because our background is SEO, when we bring these small clients, our end goal is to sell them the website with some local SEO and Google Business Management. It's going to be called Google My Business anymore. Google Business Management, which is, again, like in here, could go from $500 and up per month. And again, everybody can price out they can price out the service and package them differently. For me, this structure works, and we have had some success with it. And again, the goal here is to build something where it will scale up within the 6 months to a year, so these people become customers for life. That's the goal here. It's not, oh, let's sell and leave, right? You want these people to stay with you, so you want to provide them something that's valuable. So
before you move on, I would
yeah.
I would love to ask viewers if you all have like a similar structure, or if this is new to you. I'm curious to know if there's any sort of general themes that we're finding, because I think this is a really great breakdown. Like, I think this is a really cool breakdown of how essentially you're showing how to build an agency quickly, and it's awesome. But I'm curious to know if others have similar breakdowns of pricing and services, or if you have something different. Just toss it in the chat and let us know.
Perfect. So so now we sold the website, right? So we have our contracts, and I strongly suggest that everybody has a contract and break down exactly what you provide the customer. Now the biggest, the hardest part that we find as an agency when we build websites, it's actually getting all of the documents from the client, right? Getting the images, sometimes it's impossible. Getting content, impossible. And I know a lot of people, a lot of times projects get stuck because you will wait for these items like logins and all this information. So the goal here is this, and please keep that in mind. The goal with this process is, because you're building it at a lower cost, you need to build a website as fast as possible, right? You need to build it fast and push it live, because once the site goes live, your recurring income start coming in. So now you're able to make some profit and move on, right? So how do we do that? So we have for the architecture. So let me see. Yes, give me just 1 second, because I switched computers. I need to find my notes here. Notes. I don't know if anybody can see my. Here we go. All right. So Anton, how can I switch to actually share my screen from here? Share. Share screen. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Cool. Share screen, share. All righty. So everybody can see now the, okay, so I'm gonna open my spreadsheet. So, okay, so the keyword research was step one here in the presentation. So keyword research, uh, for the keyword research, I create some spreadsheets that look similar to this. Basically, um, what I do, it's like, most of the sites are 5-page websites, right? And these 5-page websites, you usually have a homepage, an about us page. Sometimes we include an FAQ page and a contact us page. Very simple, because the FAQ is great because it gives some locality, because people might ask local questions that they're going to help in the long run for the business. And then if they're a service business, I add service 1, service 2, service 3. If they're a restaurant or they have special offers, I have a menu, and then menu, lunch, dinner, and special offers, right? So this is pretty much, you use the structure, pretty much you can build any small local business, and you build it in a way where architecturally they're one level. So if you need to scale it up, you can build on the same level and just interlink the pages and scale up the site without having to worry about second level menus and stuff like that. We just use a flat architecture for these sites. What I do, because I said the point here is we need to build the site and keep the clientele, right? So once we're done with this, and this is an example of a site we just built, and you can see that I go in and set up some of the keywords, right? I've had questions like, okay, so you can see this is a counselor, so it's like, okay, how much does a counselor cost, right? How much does marriage counseling cost? Because these are questions that, and this is an extended architecture, but again, these are questions that down the road can extend the people will start ranking for, the site will start ranking for it because it's already, well optimized. But I mean, following my previous structure, we have the pages like marriage counseling, couples counseling, divorce counseling, right? So we know that we're going to build these specific pages following these keywords here, and this is where this is the different volume and the competition and the volume. So you can see here, most of these are easy to rank, but they have some decent amount of volume. And again, this volume is no local volume. Is as this is general. This is more for the whole United States right here. Okay, so and once we're done with this, now pretty much we have a plan. Now we know exactly what we need to build, right? So what's next? So what we do next is I like to build wireframes. Wireframes are not really like this wireframe specifically here for different projects. So they're not the ones I built for Duda. So they're more detailed. But what you can do is you get the idea. Like you go to Duda, look at the pre-built sections, take all of the pages that were outlined here, right, and sketch out. You don't have to be detailed, right? Just sketch it out and come up with the layouts. Because now at that point, you have everything that's needed. You know exactly what the page is about. You know what sections are already pre-built, so you're dropping them in, right? And then once you have everything here, you can go in your, once all your pages are here. So we have different service pages, like we have like that, like the different structures, right? So once you have these pages now, it's fairly easy, especially if you have sketches from looking at the Duda site. It's fairly easy to go back and actually build these pages very fast, right? So let me move back to my presentation here. Stop sharing. Yep, everybody can see it now. Okay. So once the wireframe and sketches are there, now we know exactly. We know. First of all, at this point, when you go back to the client and you have your architecture, you know what the pages are about, and you have these wireframes. So the wireframe app, this one's called Mockflow. But again, you don't necessarily need that because of Duda's tool. Because of Duda, like it's so easy you already have the existing layouts, right? So you don't really necessarily need to build some super detailed wireframes. I find it super easy to just sketch it out, like just sketch with a pen on nice paper. Or I mean, there's different wireframing apps that look like sketches. You don't necessarily need to give a lot of detail on that, but you want to go when you meet the client for the second time to say, okay, here's what you're getting. You paid me. Here's what you're getting here. Here's your 5 pages. Here's what each page is going to be about, and here's the layouts you're going to get, right? Because now they have paid for the product. Now they know exactly what they're getting. And the plus of that is that when you go with them prepared, and you show them that you already have thought things through, there's going to be less resistance in trusting you to take the next steps, right? So that's what you want to do right there. So once we have all that stuff on hand, you can. What I usually do, I send the clients the tools through the email, like, all that tools that Duda has, that they can gather all the information for the client, like, the business addresses, their phone numbers, any content they provide us, any pictures they can provide us. 90% of the time, I get maybe like 2 images, a logo that can sometimes work, and text that's not, great, but at least we have a foundation to start from, to take and go on. And this is the most important part of building fast. At this point, once you have discussed the layouts and you told them what they're getting, you need to be able to move forward without waiting for the client to get the documents, right? So at that point, you have a structure, you have everything else, so you can go, and the next step is to, content and imagery, right? So go order content online. All right, now you have, like, the architecture we just showed. It has 5 pages. A home page is most likely to be 2-3 boxes of text. Then about page, something that the client gives you, and then so you pretty much need like 3-4 pages of content for this. You know exactly what the page is about. So now you can easily either write it yourself. You can order, you can order it out from different content websites, like Textbroker or something. You can use AI content tools if you're a decent writer. You can use different AI content tools where, you can put your keyword and it will generate the text, and then you can take that, fix it up, run it through Grammarly or whatever other tools you're using, and then build the content. And then at the end, what the next step is to buy the images from the stock sites, right? Again, the point we have right here is that you want to build the site as fast as possible without depending on the client to give you to wait on the client, right? You need to build this fast, because if you close, like, let's say 3 or 4 of them, right, per month, and then you're waiting for all of these sites to, for content for all these sites, what happens is things pile up, people get mad, even though it's their fault, they will still get mad, right? Like, so you need to be able to move on. So planning it properly ahead of everything else is a very important part of this whole process, right? So being prepared helps a lot, and having everything you need on hand is very, very important. So
Alex, quick question for you before you get
yes.
into Duda. Do you find that clients are usually happy with the content and the photos that you've picked out, or do they come back and they're like, actually, can you use these photos? Do you find that there's like any sort of like, I don't know, like notes that you get back anyway in the long run?
So I have been, I when I first started doing this, I had a lot more like resistance, and a lot of times, like, people say change this, change that, right? I've been doing it. I've been designing for the web now, I don't know, around 15, 16 years. So through my experience, what happens is that right now, when I design something, I try to tell a story, right? Like, so, and also because all inclusivity and all that stuff, so we have to be very careful what we're using, right? What picture we're using. So what I try
Right.
to do is I try to find things that I try to find stock images that give they're right before something happens, or right as something is happening, or to show the result of something, right?
Yeah.
So when, and again, if you if we follow the structure, and now we know what the page is about, and we have already sketched out the idea, we can tell a story on our page, right? Like, so what's the point as a user? If I'm looking to find a local plumber, right? Local plumber here in Orlando, and I land on a page, what am I expecting to see is, I know, like, I'm expecting to see their logo so I can see who they are, so I can trust them, right? I'm expecting to see a contact, that their address, so I know where they're at. I'm expecting to see the reviews. I'm expecting the page to say, okay, this page is about, like, Orlando plumbing, or that they serve my area. And then as I go through, I'm expecting to see like an image that represents kind of like what I was looking for, right?
Hmm.
So that's the other thing. And we do these trainings with my team. Um, we do these exercises where basically we can tell what the page is about just from reading the H1, H2, and H3, right? And then the other exercise we can do is like we put the images alone and we're trying to figure out what the page is about too. So we
That's
start doing
really,
these
that's
exercises.
actually really cool. The fact that I love that. Like, I don't know if people heard that, because if you blinked, you might have missed it. But I want to repeat that. Is that looking at photos, testing it amongst your colleagues, and seeing if they could guess based off the photo what the page would be about. I think that's excellent. That's a really great way to choose photos. I just want to quickly read some of these comments. I know we just flashed them, but Seashell Digital said text content is the hardest to nail down. Absolutely. I wonder if maybe you have a quick tip that you could give them, Alex, before we move on to this next section.
So I don't know if I wouldn't going to call it cheating or not, right? So, but if I'm trying to, what I do, because my background is in SEO, a lot of times what I will do is, again, the exercise I said, if you read the H1, H2, and H3, you need to understand what the page is about. So what I do a lot of times, the easiest way for me is to look at competitor sites that rank for the specific keywords that I want to be at, right?
Yep.
And I'm
Hmm.
looking at the H1s, H2s, H3s, and I'm trying to. So if you look at the top three websites, right, you will kind of understand what they're trying to do, what they're saying, right? And a lot of these sites that are on positions 1 to 3, they have invested a lot of money to be there. So it's a good. So if you want to start like knowing like how to structure your content, look at your competitors, right? Like look what they're
Hmm.
doing, and then through experience and talking to the client. Because again, here's the other thing: you can copy what the competitor is doing, but what you want to do is not just copy, right? You want to take what the competitor is actually talking about, right, on their website, but you want to connect all of that with the business goals of your customer. Because even if somebody offers the exact same service, that doesn't mean that their messaging is the same, right? Like, so they might have a niche
Right.
in within that service that makes them different, and that's the thing that makes a business grow, right? So that's
Yep.
so when I talk to the clients, I try to understand what's the business goal, like who do you want to get, right? Some people will say like, if somebody tells you, oh, I'm just trying to, I just want customers, right? Like, because a lot of times we'll say that, then start. I ask them more personal questions. I just, I look around and try to see like find items that will open them up and discuss more like about the business, right? Business owners love to talk about the business, so just listen. So I try to listen what the business is about, how they started, the backgrounds, and take notes all that stuff. And as I go through the websites, and all that data, we're able to understand very well on how to structure these pages. But if you do the sketches first and you think what your titles are going to say, right? You think what your call to actions need to be at. You set up, here's the other thing, like bullet points, right? Like, so when you write the content, you don't need to write 300, like, there is a big misconception that you need like 3,000 words in a page to rank. That's not always necessary.
No.
And you can see that, especially in e-commerce.
Yeah.
Go see that. The category pages usually have 2 lines of text or sometimes nothing, right? So what you need to do is like just create the content in a way where if you skim through the page, you can read it. So the easiest way to start is, I think, start with H1, H2, H3, tell the whole story for the service or the restaurant or whatever the local business is, the law firm or whatever they are. And then once you tell the story, just fill in the blanks, right? Like, so it's much easier to do that. And then do the same thing with the images. So
I love that. That's awesome. In fact, you just made me think we actually had a blog article for anybody who's interested. We'll drop it in the comments about 10 questions to ask your customers, your new clients when you're before you go and build their website. And a lot of what Alex just said is actually in that article. So I'll share it in the comments. But anyway,
I didn't
I
read
know
it.
we want to see you build a website. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said I didn't read it. I promise. So
You could write the article. I'm sure you could write the book on this. We don't need to read this. Anyway, I know we had category pages are notoriously difficult to rank. Do you have a thought on that, Alex?
uh, it depends on you were discussing categories for e-commerce or categories for blogs.
Let us know, Hans, and
Yeah.
then we'll get back to your question in a minute. Otherwise, we can move on to seeing you build the website with Duda.
Yeah. So what I want to do, the idea here was like I wanted to share how I let me make sure that we're open here. So yeah. So the idea, I want to walk through some of the steps on how to build a website here. Let me open it up, and I will share my screen. Share screen. Alrighty. So okay. So this whole website here, actually, it's a 3-page website. It's for a client that actually has a boat rental company in Greece. I'm actually originally from Greece, so they started this company. This was through a friend of a friend. They came to me and said, "Hey, we need to build a website." I built this whole website last night within, I think I spent maybe 5 hours to build the whole thing, right? So the idea here again is, we thought, the budget was smaller. They didn't want a lot because, they're getting a lot of stuff from referrals, but they need to have a place online where they can actually book, click and book and send their clients, right? So this is what we did here. So I'm very happy. And what I want to do is I want to try to build with you again, guys, like this page, right? And kind of show you the process of how I went from just building the homepage, because the homepage was a template that I did and then modified it. I added a footer, and then I got another template. I removed the header because I didn't want any navigation on this, and kind of built this website where the main focus of this website is in mobile, to be honest. So it looks a little bit weird in desktop, but when you come in mobile, you can see that it's much cleaner. The buttons are all there, and all the information you need is right there. And something else on this side, guys. So all of the content on this website has actually been written by a bot, right? Like this is, as I said, I built this whole site from beginning to an end yesterday within 5 hours, something like that. It was fairly quick. It was my last night project, right? So how do we do that? And once you have kind of like the styling going, and a lot of us know that, it's very easy to just build the rest of the pages, duplicate one, and then so this one's pretty much the same page with the previous one, and we'll just build it, added a form, and we'll build what we needed. So how do we do it, right? So it's fairly simple. So we go to pages, and I went to new page, right? And we went to the different. We found some pages that we thought was going to work. I think this one was the. So we can start with a landing page. We can start with a service page. This was actually built. The whole thing was built using a services page, right? So let's do that test. All right. So we're gonna add the page right here. So now we have a layout, right? So I had a sketch in my, so my sketch. You guys already seen the layout, so I don't really need to do the sketch. But what you see here is like, because the site has a header, it actually includes it up here, which I don't want that because I don't want the navigation. It breaks all the other pages when we add it. So what we're doing here is I just delete everything in here. I don't want the header at all. So we can just, oops. So yes, I'm working on my laptop and all my shortcuts are not working. So we have. Oops.
Gabriella said, Alex, if I don't know if you saw, she said, "Love it, looks great." I agree. I definitely want to go rent that boat
Yeah.
after seeing that website.
So what I have done already on this site, I mean, this site also has some animation stuff, which is a little bit, it's a little bit, I'm not a big fan of it. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to delete that picture here. I'm going to include a video so we can go. So we already have a video for this page, so I'm adding the video here, right? And what I initially did was, we tried to find the best position to see, where, I don't remember the exact position we added it, but I think it was somewhere here, like that. Right, so you can see we already have what's needed. And then I can go to widgets, grab an image. We added here on top, and I went and found the logos. And you can see, guys, before I started, I put all of my stuff, all my images in here. So this client actually were pretty good. They sent all the images, and then I took some of them out and actually included them in here, right? So now, fairly easy, we go up here, and I'm pretty much going to delete this row here. So, no, undo it. So I need to remove the padding from this. So we can go in here. Can edit the design, spacing. So we'll get back to that. So in here we say our boats are available boats.
How many templates, like main core templates, would you say you work from, Alex?
To be honest, like what I do is like okay, so I don't use the flex templates, right? Because of the speed, like I'm not able to use the flex templates as good as the normal templates, and I don't know if that's a I'm not sure if that's if it's me maybe, or it's just a little bit harder.
A learning
So
curve,
usually
maybe,
there's
yeah.
3 or 4 blank templates I usually use, or if I like something like like this specific design, I like the homepage, right? Like, so I found one that was like a full page, but then I knew that I need to add a footer and all that stuff. So I just I start building on this one, and then when I add a page, it doesn't really matter, because when you go in here, again, it gives you all the options you need. Like you can add whatever you need, and then you can add the section. So if you know what you want, and I can show you an example, like you saw on this previous page, right? Like in here, like it already has the sections, right? So like this one, I'm not going to use it. I don't care for it. Like this one, I don't care for it, right? But this was the table I used, right? Like this is the exact same table, but I didn't like how this was, so I wanted 2 tables, right? So it's so easy to go in here and say, okay, I don't like you, bye, so, and delete that. So delete this here, and now I can return it. So then I can click on this one, and I can go and find my spacing, right? So we can go put some padding, and look, now I have exactly what I need to. So now I had all the client has sent me a list of the items. So, I can do like, item 4, item 5, item 6, whatever, and, select all of them and and center. So pretty much now, once I have that on hand, it's fairly easy to change whatever you need. Like,
we have a question that came through from Hans. This is actually a good question, because I know that, Alex, you're also a fan of WordPress. And obviously, we're not talking about WordPress today, we're talking about Duda. But they ask, how long does it take to make a page like this versus like WordPress in terms of like preparations and building? So I think this is actually a really great conversation or talking point I think we can talk about, because I do think oftentimes Duda and WordPress are compared, and yes, we are both website building platforms, but they're very different. And I'm sure, Alex, you know exactly how and in what way.
Yeah, so for us, every time I take on a Duda website, the Duda client, we cannot spend more than 12 to 15 hours on the website. That's our
And
max.
what do you determine as a Duda client versus maybe a WordPress
So
client?
okay, so I use a Duda client are smaller businesses that and again, we get, as an agency, we get leads from referrals, right? So most of the people that come to us, they already have internal teams that they're set on their ways, right? Like they're set on their platform, they have internal teams a lot of the
I
time.
don't know
So
if that's me.
what happened?
That if I've lost internet or Alex did.
I can hear you. We can hear you, Kim. I can see you. Can you?
Oh, you're back. Sorry, I wasn't sure. Okay. I lost you for a second, Alex. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I could hear you
Okay,
the whole
sorry.
time. So I didn't know if it was me or not. But
Sorry. Do you mind okay. I heard in the comments they can hear and see both of us. Sorry, I totally interrupted for no reason. Keep going. Ignore me.
yeah.
All right. If
So
everybody heard
so
what you just said, great.
yeah, I stopped. So so what I was saying is this, that pretty much we get as an agency, we get referrals, and we work with companies that already they already have internal teams and they already have processes. So most of our work is WordPress, right? Uh, but what happens is, because we're locally here in a smaller town in Florida, and because my agency is, it's, because of, the SEO background, stuff like that, the site gets leads because we rank on the maps, right? But a lot of the leads that come in there, they're websites that, again, they're usually from 1,000 to 3,500 tops for a website for budget, because these are brand new businesses, or
Right.
businesses that have been in the business for a year and they're like, hey, you know what? I need a brochure site because I need to
Gotcha.
send my Facebook traffic to it so I can book appointments, right? Or do this and that. So what we do is, so that's how I figure out who that client is.
Gotcha.
Our goal is to convert these people, right? Like, to sell them a good product. So if you get one of my WordPress sites, or if you get a Duda site we built, I the design, the content, the imagery, it's exactly the same, right? It doesn't change. What changes is the development time, right? Like in Duda, we don't
Right.
have development time at all. We do have some custom scripts that we use for like breadcrumbs and stuff like that we reuse, but that's about it, you know.
You said this when we were prepping for this call, and I thought it was really great that you were like, I can focus on the story that I want to tell, and I can focus on the design, and I don't have to worry about I don't have to focus on the development. Can you talk a little bit more about that in terms of, like, the comparisons of development times, Duda versus
So all right,
WordPress?
so first of all, for WordPress, because of core web vitals, and because we're focused on SEO and structure, like, we do not build with themes, right? So we build 100% from scratch, which means wireframes,
Right.
UI, all the sections, and then we go in and we build custom themes 100%. So that usually it's about 2 to 3 months time from beginning to an end, and depending on how busy the
Wow.
customer is or we are, or if we come up across with issues, or sometimes most of the sites we build are over 200 pages, so they take a long
Right.
time. Sometimes moving data over, it's a nightmare. Making sure everything is good. So so um, that's why we usually build custom. So it takes about 3 months. And so what we do next is, with Duda, I just, again, talk to the client. I give them like the 5 pages because they're new. They want some brochure, like, and then we give them just the website within maybe 2 weeks on hand, ready to be launched.
Wow.
Right? So that's a big time difference.
That's
Um,
awesome. And you also told me a story, and I think we haven't talked about it yet, but you told me a story about how your dad wanted a website, right? Was it your dad that wanted a website? Can
yes.
you tell the people this story? Because I think it's so incredible, and
Yeah.
it shows, like, the difference it shows the value of quickly creating a website for a small business and how powerful the impact can be. Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad, he's old school Greek guy, so he years ago, he didn't believe in marketing online, right? They advertise, they live in a smaller town here in Florida, and they advertise on the magazines, and it worked for some time, right? But then, you know advertising magazine stuff was super expensive, so he wasn't really getting the return on investment like he was hoping for. So I was telling my dad, I said, stop the magazine, let's put some money into a website and some Google ads and stuff like that, so we can start like marketing, maybe some local SEO. And he didn't believe me. So what I did is, at that time I was working like this website, and I can share it with you guys. Let me,
Yeah, please do.
because it's a pretty interesting website. Yeah. So I built this years ago. And let me, once I get it here, I will share it with you guys. Alrighty, let me share my screen. So, so yeah, my father did not want a website, didn't want a website. So what I did is, can everybody see it? Yep. So what I did is I built this years and years ago, right? I believe this was one of my first actual websites I built in Duda, right?
Wow.
And you can tell it's a little bit dated, right? Uh, but this website has, it's my dad's business is local. It's in the Sarasota area. So we'll build the website and we'll put, I spent maybe, I don't know, at the time, maybe 3-4 days because I was learning the platform to build this. I took some information from whatever brochures they were doing. So I just kind of made all these graphics. And then we build specific pages. Again, this is the same architecture I shared with you, like kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, flooring, right? And I built these pages, and we just put, and what I did once I did that, I put $500 out of my own pocket for ads, right? Because I wanted to prove my dad wrong. So my dad he was starting getting calls. So he's like, I told so we started talking about, like he thinks the magazines are working. And I was like, hey, I built a website for you. I'm running ads, and and I showed him the backend reporting. So he was so surprised, and we've been saying every year we're gonna update this. The company, my dad's company, they do over $3 million a year, and this is the main
That's
lead generator
incredible.
for the website,
That's
which is
incredible. See, that's the bit that I want to emphasize is the revenue opportunities that can be had just by going and building the website. It's kind of like, if you build it, they will come, as they say. But I think that's incredible that this website is you said one of your first websites you built, so maybe a little bit dated, but it does the job. It does the
exactly.
job of bringing in new clients for your dad's business. And I think the power of Duda is that you can get up to speed really quick, build this website, knock it out, add some marketing dollars to it, and boom, now we have a $3 million revenue generating machine. That's incredible. That is awesome. I know we are coming up to time, so if you have any lingering questions for Alex, viewers, please drop them in the chat now. But I did want to ask something that you had made me think of earlier, which is are there SEO differences between using Duda and WordPress? SEO is something that we are very passionate about here at Duda and making sure we incorporate it right into the product. What are your thoughts on that, Alex?
So I mean, there's some differences with SEO, I think, but the reason why we still keep using Duda is because it's SEO friendly, right? So for me, the most important part of SEO is the page structure, right?
Okay.
The eight structure. So this is something also. So we build using W3C standards. So we make sure all eight tags are in order. We'll make sure that everything is has all tags behind it. We interlink everything very, very well. But the platform is super fast, right? Like you can't deny that, and and on top of that, it makes page building very, very easy. A lot of times SEO is content, right? So, and the hardest part is to actually get a developer to build pages for you. I mean, WordPress does the same thing, but again, Duda does it with a fraction of the cost. So, and again, as I said, there's elements we've built that they're reusable, like the breadcrumbs. And I know there's a lot of other people that use the platform, and they've used like breadcrumbs and some other elements that you can pre-build, and that's great. But I mean, for me, the platform does a phenomenal job. Like for example, that website I showed you with the boat rentals. Like we were
Mm.
able to put all the local business schema and all the imagery and everything that's needed within the website in minutes, right? And I just went in,
Yeah.
filled in the information, it was all done. Then populate. Well, it was so easy to populate the all of the SEO meta tags, all the so.
Right.
And again, it looks great in mobile. It loads amazingly in mobile. So this is very, very important. And for us now, if we decide to um, to scale that up, right, with this client, and they decide, okay, they want blog. Think of how easy it is to add a blog to this website. Now
Mm,
it's super easy. With a click of a button, I can have a blog on there, and I
nice.
can have service pages. I could have pages that talk. I could have like uh, core pages. I could have service pages. I could have product pages, different boat pages. So I could literally, once we have the content, we can build these pages in a matter of like hours, all of them. So
Right.
there's no much modification we need to do because everything is pre-built, right? And that's the idea. You have the sections. You can drop a section. You can split it left and right. You can drop an image, drop content. So just with that, just the ability to be able to put image right, content left, and then all image across, and just content and forms and call to actions, dual buttons. I can build about 300 layouts like that. That would
Amazing.
work very, very well.
We have a comment that just came in from Mint. Do you have any tips or suggestions on how to combine stock photos and the client's provided photos? For example, when clients provide very bad quality or pixelated photos. Oh boy. Yeah,
Yes. No,
that's a
I
good
feel your
question.
pain. So um, I want to show you an example. I mean, if you don't mind, I want to show you an example with a client that actually, they gave me some of their photos, and
Oh
then we
yeah.
actually found stock photography too, and we built a website where all in Duda, where you can really tell if the pictures are. Well, let me. I'll share my screen in a second. So here
Brilliant.
you can really tell what's what, right? Like so, if we go here, all righty, everybody can see my screen.
Can see it.
All right. So this side here, I mean, this all built in Duda. Um, some of these pictures are the client's pictures, some of them are not, right? And
Wow,
then we
and it
put
looks uniform.
yes. So, I mean, if the client sends pixelated pictures, I mean, that's a huge problem. You cannot really use them because especially everything is wide. So, but what you can do is like see what you can save from pictures, right? And then once you can save like 3 or 4 pictures, what I like to do is um, like put filtering on top of your pictures. Like so that's how I just
Yep.
showed you now. What I had done is I took the picture, I converted to sepia tone, I put that at like on 10%, then we put a color overlay and we did this treatment to every image on the website. So
Yeah.
because stock photography, I mean it's done, it's shot in different places, right? So you need to create this coherent, they have to be coherent, so they have to look the same. They have to have the same hue, and that's the problem with a lot of designs. Like when they use stock photographs, you can tell they're stock because they're um, like it's just totally different. So you have to create. I color all the pictures to match my color schemes, so you can never tell
Nice.
what's stock, what's not. Even if you know it's a stock photograph, it doesn't stand out, because the color is about the same.
Right, exactly. That's actually pretty brilliant in terms of like bringing uniformity to the photographs. It's just applying filters and making that uniform. Okay, so I know we're coming up on time. We have 1 minute left. We have a comment here, and I'm not sure if I understand the question, but maybe you do, Alex. How can Duda be expanded to other functions like the WordPress plugins market? Um, this might be this might be a question for us internally that I'll have to look into,
Yeah,
unless you
and
understand.
so I mean, I understand there's different plugins for WordPress. When we build WordPress sites, like we try to build them with the least plugins possible. We usually build sites with like max 4 or 5 plugins. So I don't know. I feel like that you can take the Duda platform and build pretty much anything and connect it to whatever you need. You will need some development at some point if you want to connect it with stuff. Um, but with API integrations that they have and all that stuff, I think, and some development, you can build the exact same sites with that you build with a WordPress with Duda. It's there's it's just a different platform. So, and I feel like a lot of people are not used to building a different platform because we're so used to WordPress. So I don't know what he meant with the plugins. Maybe he means like a market where you can put the plugins in there and people can purchase them. But that would be
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but that would be a
So, okay,
nightmare like
there's
it is
a,
now in WordPress,
yeah,
because
another
now with the
benefit of
plugins,
Judah.
and that's why we don't use a lot of plugins because plugins are written by different authors, and one update for one
Right.
plugin can cause an issue with
Yep.
another plugin, and then you have a headache on your hands, and then people
Hmm.
keep adding plugins to fix the plugin issues, and then you add more headaches. So yeah, I mean we try to build
Yeah.
everything we need to build from scratch and use as little plugins as possible.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much. Such great stories. I don't know, I thought this was a really great talk in terms of how a real life web agency is using Judah to build these websites fast and like $3 million revenue generating websites that um, that like your dad didn't believe you for. So thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. And if you want to watch us, if you missed certain bits, I get it, life happens, you had to step away for a moment. The recording will be made available on our YouTube channel and we'll do a follow up as well. I believe the follow up email goes out. So thanks so much. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.